Chosen one, and my beloved child. Stop for a moment. Before you move on to whatever comes next, before your thumb scrolls past this message, I want you to pay attention to something you've been feeling lately. Because deep down, you know something has shifted. You may not be able to explain it. You may not even have words for it. But you felt it. That subtle change in the atmosphere. That quiet feeling that something is moving behind the scenes. That sense that a new chapter is drawing closer, even if you cannot yet see it. And no, it doesn't feel like fear. It doesn't feel like anxiety. If anything, it feels like anticipation. Like your spirit recognizes that something important is approaching before your eyes can see it. If this message is speaking directly to your heart, take a moment and type Amen in the comments. Not because anyone asked you to, but because sometimes faith responds before understanding arrives. Now listen carefully, because there is something remarkable happening that you may not fully realize. Someone has recently noticed something about you that most people overlook. Not something loud. Not something obvious. Not the things the world usually celebrates. They notice something deeper. Something genuine. Something increasingly rare in today's world. And once they recognized it, they couldn't stop thinking about it. You see, most people spend their lives surrounded by noise. Endless conversations. Endless distractions. Endless performances. People saying the right things without truly meaning them. People appearing connected while feeling completely alone. But every now and then, someone encounters a soul that feels different. A soul that carries sincerity. A soul that speaks from the heart. A soul that isn't trying to impress anyone. And that is what they've noticed about you. It's not your appearance. It's not your status. It's not anything superficial. It's the fact that you still carry authenticity in a world that often rewards performance. You still mean what you say. You still care deeply. You still bring warmth into rooms without trying to be noticed. You still possess a kindness that isn't calculated. A depth that cannot be manufactured. A presence that cannot be faked. And whether they fully understand it or not, they feel it. Some people spend years searching for something real. Years meeting individuals who look perfect on the surface but never reach the heart. Years wondering if genuine connection even exists anymore. And then they encounter someone whose presence feels different. Someone who doesn't need to perform. Someone who simply is. That realization has been quietly staying with them, returning to their thoughts at unexpected moments, making them pay attention to things they once ignored. Not because you did anything extraordinary, but because authenticity has become extraordinary. Sometimes they find themselves reflecting on small details. The way you care about things that matter. The sincerity in your words. The calmness you bring into a conversation. The feeling that people can be themselves around you without fear of judgment. To many people, those details seem small. But to someone who has spent years longing for something real, those details mean everything. And perhaps that's what this season is trying to show you. That the qualities you've sometimes underestimated in yourself, your kindness, your sincerity, your quiet strength, may be the very qualities that make you unforgettable. So don't rush the season. Don't assume nothing is happening simply because you cannot see the full picture yet. Some connections begin long before they are fully revealed. And sometimes the most meaningful chapters start quietly, before they change everything. Your future spouse once believed something deeply painful about love. They believed that love had to be complicated to be real. That confusion meant passion. That emotional highs and lows meant connection. That if a relationship felt peaceful, it must be missing something. They didn't choose that belief. Life taught it to them. Past relationships taught it to them. Disappointment taught it to them. For years, they became familiar with uncertainty. Familiar with mixed signals. Familiar with relationships that demanded so much energy and returned so little peace. Eventually, they stopped questioning it. They assumed that was simply what love felt like. And then, something changed. Not through a dramatic moment, not through some grand declaration, but through something far more powerful. A quiet realization. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was a moment they observed from a distance. Maybe it was simply the way you treated another person when there was nothing to gain from it. Instead of fear making them run, something completely unexpected happened. The more they discovered about you, the more emotionally attached they became. Late at night, when the house is quiet and their defenses are down, they replay imagined scenes of a future they have never dared to hope for. Walking beside you somewhere peaceful. Watching you smile when you forget to guard yourself. Listening to you speak about something that matters to you while your eyes light up in that natural, unscripted way that no performance could ever replicate. These visions arrive unexpectedly. They stay longer than they should. And afterward, they are left with a strange, almost bittersweet ache in their chest. Not pain exactly. More like the feeling of reaching for something precious that you know is real but have not yet been allowed to hold. Here is what truly changed everything for them. Your future spouse recently understood something that completely rewired their understanding of what love is supposed to feel like. They realized that you are the kind of person who changes lives quietly. Not through grand speeches. Not through dramatic gestures or attention-seeking performances. But through presence. Through understanding people deeply without making them feel judged. Through remaining kind even when life gives you every reason to become bitter. They see a softness in you that survived seasons that should have hardened you. And that realization touches them emotionally in ways they cannot explain to anyone around them. Because to most people, they appear fine. They appear composed. They appear like someone who has it all figured out. But underneath that carefully maintained exterior, your future spouse has been carrying a hidden loneliness for longer than anyone realizes. There was always a quiet emptiness sitting underneath everything. A hollowness that no amount of social interaction, career success, or temporary excitement could fill. And lately, your energy has been interrupting that emptiness. Like light slowly entering a room they forgot could ever feel warm again. They are beginning to imagine a future they stopped believing was possible for them emotionally. A future where love does not require emotional exhaustion. Where trust grows naturally instead of painfully. Where they can finally rest beside someone who genuinely understands their soul without needing to perform strength or hide their wounds. That dream used to feel impossibly distant. Now it feels strangely close. Whenever they think of you. But there is another realization that changed them completely. They recently understood that they do not just admire your energy. They deeply respect it. And respect is the most dangerous word in the vocabulary of love. Because attraction can happen in a second. Curiosity can fade in a week. Infatuation can dissolve in a month. But respect takes time. It grows slowly. It is cultivated through observation, through witnessing how a person handles pressure, how they treat strangers, how they carry themselves when life gets heavy. And what your future spouse has observed about you has earned something that no amount of charm or physical attraction could manufacture. They respect your resilience. Your ability to remain soft after everything life placed in front of you. Your emotional depth that goes far beyond what most people could even comprehend. Your quiet strength that doesn't announce itself but radiates from everything you do. They respect the way your presence feels calming instead of draining. How being around your energy doesn't require them to perform or pretend. How your authenticity gives them permission to be honest about their own struggles without fear of judgment. The moment admiration transformed into deep emotional respect, their feelings became significantly more serious internally. That is why they cannot stop thinking about you lately. That is why your energy keeps appearing during the quietest moments of their day. That is why they suddenly care about becoming emotionally ready for real love. Because without fully realizing it, your future spouse is already preparing space in their heart and their life for you. And what makes this story even more beautiful is that the connection has not yet revealed its strongest chapter. Something meaningful is still approaching slowly between you both. Timing is still arranging certain details. Distance is still shaping certain lessons. But emotionally, something has already begun. Your future spouse can feel it. They can feel that their heart is moving towards something deeper, calmer, and more genuine than anything they have experienced before. There is a quiet tension building inside them now. The kind that appears when someone realizes their entire emotional landscape is about to shift in a very real way. They are no longer dreaming about perfect love. They are dreaming about peaceful love. About waking up beside someone who feels emotionally genuine. About being accepted without constantly performing strength. About finding a connection where silence doesn't feel awkward and honesty doesn't feel dangerous. And somehow, every version of that peaceful future keeps leading them back to you. They have started reflecting on their past relationships with a completely different lens. Not with bitterness. Not with regret alone. But with understanding. They are finally seeing how many times they settled for connections that only distracted them from their loneliness instead of healing it. How they confused attention with affection. Excitement with emotional compatibility. Temporary closeness with genuine understanding. But your energy disrupted all those old patterns without even trying. And now they are beginning to recognize something that changes everything. Your presence does not make them feel emotionally drained. It makes them feel emotionally restored. And once someone experiences emotional peace, returning to emotional chaos becomes almost impossible. Sometimes they wonder if fate has been quietly preparing both of you for each other for much longer than either of you realizes. They look back at all the disappointments, the delays, the painful lessons, and the unexpected detours that life placed in front of them. And slowly, very slowly, they are beginning to understand that perhaps those experiences were not punishments. Perhaps they were preparation. Preparation for a connection that would finally feel balanced instead of confusing, safe instead of threatening, peaceful instead of chaotic. And here is what they have not admitted openly yet. They are beginning to feel protective over your future together already. Even before everything has fully unfolded, they find themselves caring deeply about your happiness, about your emotional safety, about whether life has been gentle with your heart lately. That tenderness inside them is growing quietly every single day. And the more it grows, the more emotionally certain they become that what they feel for you is not temporary, not superficial, and not something they can simply walk away from. Sometimes they wonder if you realize how much comfort your energy naturally gives to the people around you. You may not always notice it yourself. To you, your kindness feels ordinary. Your patience feels normal. Your emotional depth feels like just another part of being alive. But to someone who spent years surrounded by emotionally unavailable people, your presence feels like oxygen. Your future spouse feels this deeply now. That is why their emotions seem almost impossible to contain whenever they think about you. They are no longer reacting to attraction alone. They are reacting to emotional relief. To the sudden, overwhelming realization that peace is actually possible. That love doesn't have to be a battlefield. That someone can know the most honest, vulnerable parts of them and stay anyway. There are nights where they lie awake, longer than usual, imagining conversations with you that haven't happened yet. Honest conversations. Vulnerable conversations. The kind where two people slowly stop hiding parts of themselves and finally allow themselves to be fully seen. Every time they imagine those moments, they feel both excitement and fear blending together inside them. Excitement because your connection feels meaningful in a way nothing else has. Fear because meaningful connections have the power to change people permanently. But something inside them keeps whispering the same truth over and over. You may become the person who finally makes them believe that love does not have to hurt to be real. That peace is not the absence of passion but the foundation of it. That someone can see every hidden scar, every silent disappointment, every exhausted part of them that longs to finally rest. And choose to stay. That whisper is no longer quiet. It is becoming the loudest thing in their heart. Finally, that word has been living inside both of you for a very long time. Finally, someone who does not need you to perform. Finally, someone who recognizes depth when the rest of the world walks right past it. Finally, a love that feels like arriving instead of struggling. Finally, peace where there was always confusion. Finally, safety where there was always fear. Your future spouse is moving toward their finally. And you are moving toward yours. Two people who spent years settling for connections that kept them distracted but never made them feel safe. Two people who almost gave up on the idea that genuine, soul-level love still exists. And now heaven is quietly, carefully, divinely bringing those two timelines together. But finally does not begin with arrival. It begins with release. The moment you stop holding your hands closed. The moment you stop protecting yourself so aggressively that you block the very thing you have been praying for. The moment you finally exhale the fear and whisper to heaven, I am ready. Not ready because everything is perfect. Not ready because you have it all figured out. But ready because your heart has been saying it quietly for longer than anyone knows. Type finally in the comments. Not as a wish. Not as a hope. But as a declaration. As the word your heart has been holding in its hands for years, waiting for the right moment to release it into the atmosphere. Let heaven hear it now. My beloved child, what is unfolding around your life right now is not ordinary. The connection being prepared for you was never built on performance, appearance, or surface-level compatibility. It was always built on truth. The truth of who you are when nobody is watching. The truth of someone out there who is already changing emotionally because of your existence. The truth that your sincerity, your depth, your quiet resilience, and your stubborn refusal to become bitter despite everything life has placed in front of you? It is not too much. It is exactly enough. It has always been exactly enough. So stay open. Stay honest. Stay soft. Because what is coming toward you has been waiting for the exact version of you that already exists. Not the perfected version. Not the healed version. Not the version that has everything together. The current, imperfect, beautifully authentic, deeply human version of you. That is who your future spouse is falling for. Not your potential. Not your future. Right now. Exactly as you are. And that future is closer than it has ever been before. If this message awakened something in your spirit, if it confirmed what you have been secretly hoping for in the quiet moments of your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel right now. Stay connected to this frequency of love, hope, and divine promise. Let this community be the reminder that your finally is not a fantasy. It is a prophecy that is actively unfolding. And before you close this video, think of someone who is still waiting. Someone who is still questioning whether their person is out there. Someone who needs to hear that their depth is not a flaw but a gift. Share this with them. What found you today may be the exact lifeline they have been praying for. Your future spouse is getting closer. Your love story is getting louder. And your finally is no longer a whisper. It is a roar.